9 years, and definitely after 9 years, lots of changes happened to the person. So lots of changes, maybe on his face, on his reactions, his hair. So especially if that person is not living a happy life, right? So she said that you have changed a lot, Christine. Mrs. Lindy, yes, I have indeed, in 9, 10 long years. So we know now they haven't met even for 10 years. Nora, gently, poor Christine, you are a widow. And of course, you know who is a widow. A widow is the wife whose her husband died, she lost her husband. He is dead. So she is a widow, as I said. Mrs. Lindy, yes, it is 3 years ago now. So when he died, she lost him almost 3 years ago. Nora, yes, I knew. I saw it in the papers. I assure you, Christine, I meant ever so often to write to you at the time, but I always put it off, and something always prevented me. So she said that I really wanted to contact you, to send you letters. Of course, the play was written many years ago. So at that time, they didn't have phones, they didn't have mobiles, they didn't have emails. So only sending letters to each other, right? So she said that I meant ever so often to write to you at the time, but I always put it off, and something always prevented me. Mrs. Lindy, I quite understand, dear. Nora, it was very bad of me, Christine. Poor thing, how you must have suffered. And he left you nothing? Did he leave you anything? Mrs. Lindy, no. And no children? Mrs. Lindy, no. And even you did not have children from that marriage? She said no. Nora, you must be angry with me. Tell me, is it really true that you did not love your husband? Why did you marry him? So this is also a good point. Now, if you did not love your husband, why you married him, right? And this actually again gives us an indication about the character of Nora, that love is the cornerstone. Love is everything for Nora. She cannot live with someone that she does not love. And that feeling will make the difference at the end of the play, right? So that feeling will make the difference at the end. Once she feels that she is not in love with her husband, so definitely she's going to decide to leave him, right? So this question is very important, and it is like foreshadowing and preparing us to know what controls the relationship between her and her husband. Okay, so why did you marry him? Now, sometimes we marry people not out of love, but the circumstances force us to marry, right, that person. And Lindy actually had some hard circumstances which forced her to marry that man. And now she is explaining what are these circumstances. She said, my mother my mother was alive then, and was bedridden and helpless. So her mother was sick, seriously ill, and she was even bedridden and helpless. And I had to provide for my two younger brothers. So I did not think I was justified in refusing his offer. So now she married him. Why? Because his mother was seriously ill, and they needed money to buy her medicine to help her to get better. And at that time they did not have money. And the person she married, he was a man of wealth, he was rich, and that's why she married him. She married him to help her, treating her mother, and not only her mother, even also at that time her two younger brothers, as she said. I had to provide for my two younger brothers. So also they were still young, her two brothers, and they needed money to continue their education. So that's why she decided to marry that man. Although he was old, he was not young, he was old, but only because he has money, right? Yes. So she almost sacrificed herself for the sake of her family. So she sacrificed herself for the sake of her family. So I did not think I was justified in refusing his offer. Mrs. Lindy, my poor mother needs me so no more, for she is gone. Now her mother died, so she does not need her anymore. And the boys do not need me either. They have got situations and can shift for themselves. Now even her two brothers are not in need for her anymore, because now they can depend on themselves, right? Yes. Noura, but it was absolutely necessary that he should know. She should not know. My goodness, cannot you understand that it was necessary he should have no idea what a dangerous condition he was in? It was to me that the doctors came and said his life was in danger. Now Noura in turn is telling her about her husband Helmer, how he was sick and how he the doctors advised her to move him to another country, another warmer place. And she's telling her friend that it was very important not to tell him about his bad condition. So Noura, of course, besides I was the one responsible for it. Whenever Torvald has given me money for new dresses and such things, I have never spent more than half of it. Now, these words tell us obviously and clearly that Noura is a wise, intelligent wife. She is not as he accused her at the very beginning. He accused her of, as we see, of spending money unwisely. Noura is not that type of wives. Why? Because she said that whenever she gets money from her husband, she has never spent more than half of it. And saving or keeping the second half to pay back for the money she got from the bank to save his life. I have always bought the simplest and the cheapest things. Thank heaven, any clothes look well on me. And so Torvald has never noticed that, but it was often very hard on me. It was often very hard on me, Christine, because it is delightful to be really well dressed, isn't it? Yes. Servant at the hall door, excuse me, ma'am, there is a gentleman to see the master, and as the doctor is with him. Who is it? Krogstad at the door. It is Mrs. Helmer. Mrs. Lindy starts, trembles, and turns to the window. Now, while they are talking together, someone came. His name is Krogstad. What is actually noticeable here is that once Lindy saw that man, she turns to the window. She gives him her back in order not to see her face, which attracts our attention and which makes us asking why Lindy is doing this. Do they know each other? Is there any relationship between them? Why she is hiding her face from him, right? And of course we will know this later, inshallah.